So hello everyone, welcome once again. This is the routing part 2. Already it's the part of master data in SAP PPMM or common for all different modules, and we have already discussed about routing. So here we will be dividing this particular into 3 steps. For example, create routing, operational overview, sequential overview, and the important things that are related to creation of routing and management of the operations. As we also discussed before about the uh, work center as something where you have to create or you have to produce something. For example, the operations are planned in routing but they are executed in work center, so it's a common ground where things are converted from raw material to finished product, we can say in short. So it is inside the plant, and to create routing there are two different steps first of all. And you can easily go through SAP Easy Access. As soon as you log in, there is an Easy Access menu. Different options are there already: master data, bill of material, work center, routings, and here you can create, change, and display with the T codes. You don't have to buy hard any T code. And operational rate routing, and all sales. If you're working with SND, that is sales and distribution module, for creation of sales order or creation of other production order in production. So material master production version C2 to 3. So this is also the part of material master data, like routing. So after routing we would also learn about this. Bill of material is also, work center is also, and so this is one path. This is the one standard sequence, easiest sequence, and also the more easier sequence is directly through T code. So CA01 is to create, change, and display. Remember, like 03 always represents to display, whether it is MS03 for example, whether it is PP01, or 01 is to create every time, second is to change, and just basic is 03 is always to display, and second is always to change. So these are standard chronological sequence of in SAP while using any module. And here we can create like material plant, key date. So always remember to put key date, which is like not when we are creating it, it's something where till which, till 24 it is valid, the kind of routing. So till 24, so the key date is not the creation, it is till valid, so validity based, and the system will pick up the data till 24. And however the profile, so we have many profiles to learn. For example, schedule margin profile, and in production planning, when we create a production order. But here this profile is a routing profile, PRAM, for example, if I create it. So the better way or the easiest path is to create, this is the path to go through /n SPRO, production basic data routing control, and define profiles. So with this path you can easily create a profile, which is one of the mandatory requirements to initially log in into the routing and create the routing successfully. So we can eventually look all other key details and subsections inside when we move to other master data, and chronologically we will move to other bill of material and work centers also. So this is the sequential overview. Once you log in, you have standard sequence 101. The most common use is standard sequence 0. Most of the times when it's a production company or manufacturing, it is 0. It is already set as a default, so it is already configured by the in the system by the user as 0 standard sequence, and automatically the system picks up, and then it is already attached to your routing that you have created recently. So this is the sequence, and from here you can choose the sequence, routing, and operations. Group counter, so group counter is set default, so it is already it is given by your system once you create the routing, so you don't have to choose it. It gives you, once you create for the same plant, you create second time, then it gives you group counter 2, 3. So it gives you as you create. So the first one, this is the first one, so it's a group counter 1. So it is one of the key details and the key sign that you have created the routing successfully. Here is the group test created, for example, and these are the most easiest things you can just get in reference document. This represents the reference. So if you have already created for the same plant, for the different material but the same plant, then you can just click in and you can just change the basic data and you can continue with the already created routing. So it is the fastest and easiest way. Here is the operational view. Once you get in, for example, once you get on the top, like we already see in the last slide, operation sequence, standard sequence 0 1. So once you get into operation, this is the operational overview, like we already discussed in last, like 0 10 20 30 40. You can also choose off track as the first and fitment as the last, or fitment 2 as the first and assembly laydown as the last. So there is no standard, it depends on what kind of production, how fast it has to be performed right now, how what are your requirements, what are the client's requirements, and if you need to create a maintenance operation sequence. So first is to check this, second is to recheck the fitting, third sequence 0030, for example, maybe to reassemble and then replug in. So you can start from replugging first and then you can go on eventually to the last operation. So EA is also a unit which is each, and there are time units, standard time units such as hours, HR, and minutes. So last we saw in last routing part we saw hour. So hour is the standard and most commonly used for PP operations, especially for rate routings, because they give you the proper time. You don't have to measure everything in minutes. For example, here we have seen that machine, labor, and so on. So three. So minutes, 10 minutes each for each operation. So for the first operation, it's 10. Depending on, so this is called as the capacity planning. So whatever we see here is a capacity. So capacity planning for operation number 1. So this is the sequence. For sequence number 1, assembly laydown, the capacity is measured in minutes. For machine labor, the unit is minutes, and the base quantity is obviously 1. So back in what we do to create this, so where is it created? So this is created in the routing itself in inspection characteristics and different data. We will eventually discuss about it in our subsequent discussions, but this is somewhere called as capacity planning. You have to choose how much time this machine will work, and for example, if you have total capacity includes labor, or for example employee and machines. In logistics or supply chain companies, usually they are called as forklifts. So sometimes they are 3 ton capacity, 2 ton capacity. So if you have 5 forklifts for 3 shift, and on the other hand if you have 20 employees, when you combine the 3 shifts and 1 operational manager, then combination of this employee and the equipment is equal to total capacity. So similarly, this is the total capacity of first sequence, first operation, and the total capacity of second. So how will it perform? When will it perform? How much time will it take? And you can also add few operational downtimes if there are issues and if certain things are not functioning on time. So this is the most interesting field, most interesting scope in routing, where we can see group counter as 1 and sequence is standard 0 of different operations. PP01 is what we have chosen, and QM is for quality and PM is for maintenance. So these are different control keys that you set usually for a plant, and you can configure those. To configure those, this is the path SPRO, production basic data routing operation define and define control keys. When you type SPRO, you have to always type /n SPRO. Before this, you have to always type /n. And for any T code, for example, this is routing, or any other T code, for example CO01 or for CA21, to create this is for rate routing. So rate routing starts with CA or CA21. So it's not 01, it's 21, 22 and 23. But On the other hand, for the normal routing, which is most standardly followed, is CA01, CA02, CA03. But here we are dealing with rate, because we are dealing with a repetitive manufacturing operation. One part with similar characteristics is produced one after the another. So you have a class. So class is equal to for a particular product, particular product has number of characteristics, its color, dimension, breadth, width, and when you combine all those for a product is equal to a class. So that's why we have chosen here CA21. So this is create rate routing. This is not just routing, this is create rate routing. So rate is repetitive manufacturing routing, but you just to create routing, when you're dealing with discrete manufacturing, or you're dealing with any uh, any other different type of routing, then you can just go for CA01. So you don't have to go for 21, but the initial remains the same, CA, because it's a T code. And always remember to put /n before any T code when you put it in the command box on the top left. EA is the unit machine time and 10 minutes for each operation. And this path is almost similar for other control keys or other configuration profiles when you need while performing the operations. So here we will look about different control keys like PP0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 are for the production when you are dealing with SAP PP module, and when it's about maintenance, if you need to maintain something, there's already a finished product but you need to maintain it, then in that case you have to go for plant maintenance activities. They start from IW21. IW. So IW always starts for maintenance, but the control keys for maintenance are for PM, PM01, QM, ZP are for company specific. And this is the path. Path, I mean to remember, this is the flow. Operation, then you create control, then scheduling confirmation, and then external processing for operations. So you can just pause the video whenever you have time, and you can check the difference between normal routing and rate routing, because this is the easier part, but valid and very vital to understand the concepts and difference between both. And for example, you see CA01, 2, 3, and I think we don't have to get much detail into it right now. So rate routing is obviously the special type of routing mainly for repetitive manufacturing. But when we are dealing with, like I already said, like I already told you, when we are dealing with the other kind of SAP PP, for example, production planning, not repetitive, we are dealing with rate discrete manufacturing process. For process, for example, if you have if you are working in the chemical company, then you would add a solution, then the second solution is added, then it's passed on through evaporation, for example, then the next process could be condensation, then after effect it would be a finished product. Okay, so I think so there you can use CA01, because it's still process, and when there are specific other T codes for process manufacturing also, but for rate specifically it starts with CA21 and 22. So thank you. If you have in doubt, just let me know, and you can email on this given email ID. Thank you. Bye.